Hey yo, what's bustin', fellas? It's your boy here, and we back. We got some more Fae content, and today we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the upcoming Hall of Forms characters for Sacred Stones. We've got 4 characters we're gonna be getting. One of them is Legendary Ephraim. We have also Legendary Eirika. Then we've got Artur, and then we also have the baby Innes. So we're gonna take a look at their skills, and I'm just going to give you guys some recommendations on what skills you may want to pick up if you're going to go ahead and Forma Soul any one of these guys. Now, just a bit of advice. If you are planning to Forma Soul any of them, I would say top priority would probably be Artur. He is actually the best in slot green tome armor type unit in the game. There's only 3 others besides him, and he is better than the other 3. So he's probably the best thing you could pick up here. Also, he's kind of rare. He's a 5-star seasonal, so you probably don't even have a copy of him. And I would say the other option would be Legendary Eirika. There's just a little too much gray in the way of Innes, where we don't really know if this guy is going to refine, and even if he does, we don't know what effects they're going to give him. So picking up skills in here is going to be like a complete gamble. If you pick up like physical null follow-up, for example, they may just put null follow-up on his weapon anyway. So like we have no idea what the future holds for him. And then this guy is just a wash. He's just not that good anymore. So he should not be picked up unless he's your favorite character ever. Okay, so we're going to start with him, Legendary Ephraim. I guess why not? Just talk the man down, and you're never, ever, ever, ever going to take off his weapon or his B skill. Now, his B skill, maybe. Like, it may sound like a shock, but you could argue that a certain B skill might be better for him than his B skill here because of the way that certain skills are going to line up. His weapon, though, you're never going to take this off. The only other weapon that you would replace this for, maybe, is Arcane Chang, which is not available in Hall of Forms. Those bastards do not want to put arcane weapons in Hall of Forms for some reason, yet it's okay for us to get it as a Forma from Binding Worlds characters. I don't understand the logic there. Just put them in Hall of Forms, like what's the big deal? Okay, but as I said, for the most part, you're not going to change his weapon or B skills, so we're going to be looking at some skills possibly that you may pick up. So it's Curtains. Maybe, like, it's a very unique weapon where it pulses you by -2 at the start of turn 1. So for setting up things like Gale Force or pre-charged Ruptured Sky, for example, you might be able to use this in some cases, although not really. It's just like the only other thing he might think about using, even though he's never going to. Alright, Harsh Command, and then any Rally Up Plus or Double Rally Plus, whichever, it doesn't matter with these assists. Just pick up the rarest thing. They all... A Harsh Command, I guess, is the best one, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, so Attack and Defense Clash 4 is probably the A skill of choice for this guy. It's going to nullify his penalties and give him the highest attack and defense buff, which are the 2 stats he cares about the most. Gambit 4, because he doesn't have -1 special trigger on Flame Siegmund, could actually be better than his own B skill, considering we would be getting Kanto from Alarm, Attack, and Defense anyway. And even if you're still running his B skill, Solar Brace, regardless, like, Alarm is still his best in slot C skill. You're not getting anything out of the Kanto 1, but you're getting the start of turn Attack and Defense, as well as the Drive Attack and Defense in combat. So, like, this is still his best C skill regardless of what you do. So, because of that, maybe you could argue Gambit 4 is his best B skill, and you'd have to run a high-cost special with it, obviously. Like, you wouldn't be able to run Gale Force, unfortunately, so you'd have to run Ether, probably. And, I mean, that's going to be up to you whether or not you want to go for this over his own B skill, but it's worth picking up. And then, for some other skills here, Blue Flame is also pretty rare, although he's never going to use it. It's like, I mean, I guess pick it up if you find it, if it's rare and you've already got Ruptured Sky on him, but really just take Ruptured Sky. Flared Sparrow, even though he doesn't care about speed, he cares about DPS, and the 7 true damage from Flared Sparrow will be helpful. Also, another cool thing about Flared Sparrow on this guy is we just recently got that new attuned Triandra who also melts the enemies at the start of your player phase combat. So, like, that would be -13 damage to the foes that they can't answer, which is really stupid. So, Flared Sparrow value just keeps going up and up. Lull Attack and Defense 4 is another possible B-slot option for him if you want to go for it. Just allows him to tank a little better by nullifying their bonuses. And then Defense and Res Smoke 3 would be pretty good with his own B skill and weapon, because of course, whenever you have Pathfinder and Kanto to combo with each other, it works out. So like he attacks, he gets out of the way, and then he gave himself Pathfinder with this, so your other allies can take advantage of that. So those would be the skills I would say try to look for on this guy. Okay, next up we have Eirika, who's actually still kind of a decent unit. So her weapon has built-in damage reduction based on speed. It's giving her a special acceleration on hit. Also gives her all stats of 8. So there's no way in the world you're using a different sword than this on her. But we will show some other swords. And then Lunar Brace 2 gives her null follow-up. It nullifies guard. It gives her... Or... Does it nullify guard? I think it just gives her... We can check that. It gives her Kanto 2. It gives her null follow-up. And then... True damage based on defense. Okay, yeah, we'll take that. So, true damage based on defense is pretty good. Now, let's take a look at some skills you would want to give her. So, with null follow-up and DR based on speed, she can actually run distant attack speed solo pretty well. Gambit 4 could also be an option on her too, although it's hard to argue this over her B skill, which gives null follow-up. That's going to be up to you, up to your own discretion, but she can still get Kanto from her Alarm C skill, which again, with Ephraim, this is still like the best in slot C skill, even if you're still running her innate B skill anyway. Ninja Katana gives her a Brave attack, and it also gives her speed up 4, so like in some situations, maybe you could say this is better than running, her weapon, just for the novelty of a Brave attack, but really you just want to run her base weapon. So, I mean, these are some skills you may want to pick up. Blue Flame again, because it's rare, but really Ruptured Sky would be the thing to give her. Now, Flared Sparrow actually helps her more than Ephraim, because she does care about speed. Flow Desperation also would be pretty good here, so we can go for that, get the guaranteed auto follow-up, and then also get half a null follow-up here, which one of the biggest effects she was getting from her B skill was null follow-up. So half a null follow-up for a player phaser like her, we'll take that. That's perfectly fine. And she can run Gale Force pretty effectively if you were to do something like this, because of course her weapon gives her acceleration on hit. So just a couple of skill options you may want to look for on Eirika. Now, these are not meant to be like actual builds. These are just to show off the skills that make the most sense to pick up. Okay, we have Artur up next. As I said, this guy is pretty much what you would want to look for. Now, he comes with Defense Res Far Save already, which is nice. So you wouldn't have to pick that up. I actually gave that to him as an option. We can replace that, I guess, for attack and defense Far Save. Sure, we'll take just for variety. So Special Spiral 4 is actually better for this guy than any of the armor B skills level 4 that we have. Vengeful Fighter 4 and Special Fighter 4 don't do a goddamn thing for this guy, unfortunate as that may be, because if you're going to run this guy, you're probably giving him the Arcane Caliburnus, which gives you the acceleration on hit already and the guaranteed follow-up. So that already does all of the good stuff about Vengeful Fighter 4. So like that skill is pointless on this guy if you're running that weapon. And Vengeful Fighter 4 gives you tempo, well, not really tempo. It gives you guard on the enemy with special acceleration on hit for yourself. As we've already mentioned, we're already getting special acceleration on hit with Arcane Caliburnus, and it's mandatory to run a guard-based A skill for these save armors like Fire Flood Boost or Double Stance level 3. So he's getting guard anyway, so like the only thing he would get from Vengeful Fighter is the healing, which could be okay with Armored Flow or Armored Bacon, as we'll look at in a sec. So Special Spiral 4 actually works out the best here for this guy, because he's going to be able to loop Armored Flow over and over. It gives him non-pierceable DR, and it gives him an Iceberg that nullifies enemy DR. So this makes the most sense to me for him. And then you could also go for Plegian Torch or Grand Vulture. They do the exact same thing, but if you want some brownie points, then Plegian Torch is rarer. So I would say try to aim for that one if that's an option. Then just, as we said, double rallies, whatever. Armored Bacon, if you can't find Armored Flow, is serviceable, but obviously he wants Flow because he's got better res. Bracing Stance 3 would be an option over Fire Flood Boost if you can't find that. Vengeful Fighter 4, I don't even know if I want to give this guy Vengeful. I guess maybe if you're not running Caliburnus, then Vengeful Fighter works, but like, why would you not run Arcane Caliburnus if you're going to use this guy? So, I don't know. I guess we'll keep this. I was going to swap it for Special Fighter 4. We really need the rest of those level 4 fighter skills ASAP because a lot of them don't mesh well with the available arcane weapons that we have. And then finally, attack, res, far save, just to get attack and res and far save. So those would be the skills you would look for on him. And then finally, we have the Kid Innes here. So again, like I said, this guy's just a complete blank slate. We have no idea what his refine is going to do, if he's even going to refine. So let's see here. These are the skills you may want to get. White Cap Bow is essentially just built-in desperate. Is it a brave attack? Hold on. Let me double check that. I can't remember if it was a brave attack or if it was like just desperation. Let's see here. It is a brave attack. Okay, so you would be able to run that, get a brave attack with the full might of a bow, which is pretty cool. That could be seen as better than his own weapon, but you got to get... What do you got to do for this? You got to have 10 more speed than the enemy, so... Good luck winning a speed check with this guy when he's not really that recent of a unit. His base speed is not the best. However, we can get a lot of speed boosting skills on him, so... Attack and speed finish 4, lull speed and defense 4, times pulse 4, these should be your go-to. Ruptured Sky with times pulse 4 and his own weapon is just going to be permanent pierceable DR to the foe while using their attack stat for the check. So like this would be exactly what you want to give him right now. And then just some other options here. Oath 4 can give him more attack and speed if you just want to focus on DPS. Physical Null Follow-Up gives him Null Follow-Up, which he lacks, and then it also cuts DR in half. Not super mandatory for him because he already nullifies DR on his base weapon, but this could be for mix-ups, like against Lucia, who nullifies specials. This could cut DR against her, or if the enemies have Scowl and they're taking away your pre-charged special, then you can still have a way to cut their DR in half. And then Hexblade gives him adaptive damage and attack and speed there, so adaptive damage is very good on these bows. Deadeye is rare still, so like I mentioned it, although he doesn't need it on his base weapon because he already nullifies DR. But if you're going to switch his weapon for something else, then Deadeye would be a good option there, so that's why I brought it up. So there you guys go. Those are some builds, or not really builds, just skills you want to focus on if you're going to go ahead and pick up any of these guys with the Forma Soul. So that's going to wrap us up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed the coverage, and this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, fellas, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.